to skip this part, I will put in a timestamp for when I stop talking about it. Okay. Wait, actually, before I get into that, no, I forgot what I was going to say. Anyway, let's talk about the nod-krai archon quest. So, I personally have really enjoyed it for the most part, though I do have some criticisms that I'll also talk about a little bit. But overall, it's been a big hit for me. So, just kind of a mood spoiler for that, as I think a lot of my longtime viewers will already get the sense of, since I also talked a bit about liking the Archon quest in previous videos. So, I guess I'll just start from the beginning. I do think the beginning wasn't really the strongest. I was having doubts through Act 3, I think. I particularly wasn't super impressed by the way the factions in nod-krai were introduced. Like, it didn't really feel like they had reasons to be competing against each other, except obviously the Fatui versus like everyone else. Especially the Frostman's scions. It's just, I don't know, especially the part where you had the Avengers Assemble moment, and they were trying to introduce people like Nefer and how they were joining the fight against Reir. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing these names wrong. I play in Chinese. But yeah, the original big bad guy. Like, that scene felt really off to me. Why did Yehuda have to convince Nefer to join when, I mean, first of all, she showed up to the scene, so you know narratively that she's going to join, so it kind of just felt pointless. And also, like, if she doesn't help them, then doesn't that mean all of nod-krai is going to be destroyed? Like, what? I mean, they're kind of facing an existential threat there. So that felt really off, and that was not a great first impression of Nefer's character writing, in my opinion. Of course, I ended up really loving her writing, her backstory in Act 4, so that redeemed things in my eyes, but yeah, it was just a really awkward introduction for me. It also just kind of felt like, oh yeah, the monsters, how they just kind of popped up out of nowhere. It's like, oh cool, I guess they're here. And Vargo was kind of doing, he was kind of doing nothing for most of the quest. But yeah, let's see, who else? I mean, I do think that they handled Columbina's introduction and development pretty well, although I really don't like how they time-gated the weekly interactions you have with her in Silver Moon Hall, like the Selene Chronicles, especially because I started the first act of the Archon quest late by multiple weeks, and there were also some weeks where I either forgot or didn't have time to do the Selene Chronicles. So even now, I still have not gotten the glider. I think I'm literally 1 week away though. I'm like a few days away from the last one to unlock the glider. But it was really weird because even after I finished Act 8, I Croix, you know, the big Fontaine World Quest series. At that point in time, when I was first introduced to Sandrone, I had not even done that World Quest series yet because I was really behind on exploration. And so that felt even more jarring. And I don't know, she didn't really feel like a character. Like, it was like, what are they doing with her? She's just here, and all she's doing is being a tsundere who, frankly, doesn't seem that competent, I'm gonna be real, and is also trying to colonize the, like the Frostmoon's scions. And I don't know, there was just, it just felt kind of weird for Traveler to be so buddy-buddy with her, even from the beginning. And like, I don't know, like I feel like they could have also introduced the relationship between the Harbingers more naturally. I don't know, just something about those early character introductions just felt so off. Like, it was just noticeably jarring, and I was like, this doesn't feel right. It's like the writers knew they had to introduce everyone and get them to work together, but they didn't really know how to do that in a way that made sense, if you know what I mean. It's like, in contrast, like I think some pieces of media that really introduce different parties well would be like Arcane Season 1, for those of you who have seen Arcane. Like, okay, first of all, I hated Season 2. Let's not get into that. But Season 1 was a masterpiece in character writing, plot writing, world building, all of that. I think one of the strongest points of Arcane Season 1 was how all the characters were introduced in a way that is like connected, in a way that makes sense. It's like, oh yeah, I see how this event leads to that event, and like what this character is doing makes sense, and it's like, oh, that domino effect kind of thing, and like all the pieces of the puzzle falling together into place because they were meant to be one big puzzle, you know? Like, I was kind of hoping that, I kind of am always hoping for that kind of level of writing when these kinds of big Avengers Assemble type things are introduced, where like all these characters are introduced and they have like motives and stuff. Like, this plot is like unfolding and everything. But yeah, no, the beginning of nod-krai was not it. It was definitely not it, and I was disappointed for a while. I also felt like they were just kind of using characters as vessels to convey information the writers had to convey, rather than things that they would like tragedy and stuff. And like, sure, there are ways that can be written well, but I feel like when you have an interesting, like the most interesting storylines to me always have a conflict between people, you know, like that's the way it, like, I think my favorite pieces of media always have conflicts between people, and like the best kinds of conflicts are the ones where you can see why people ended up being in those situations, like even if it doesn't excuse the villain or anything, like having the villain have like an understandable backstory of how they got to that point. Like that's what I like to see. And so Rare was just a huge nothing burger for me at first. It's like the first few acts, I was just like, great, yeah, I don't care about these flashbacks, what is going on? I think it probably wasn't helped by the fact that I was doing Act 3 really late at night and I was very tired and I just wanted to get it over with. But things really picked up. Okay, now we're getting into the good stuff. Things really picked up, I think in Act 4, one really great part about Act 4, of course, Nefer's backstory. I think I already talked about how much I loved it in a previous video. But oh my god, let me just say, Nefer is kind of like one of my favorite character tropes, which is the Avenger, like the very passionate Avenger type who also hates herself but needs to get that revenge, or she can't live with herself. You know, it's like you lose both ways. Like you get the revenge and you hate yourself. You don't get the revenge and you still hate yourself. I just love characters who hate themselves. I'm sorry, but like, oops. But that reminds me of like the interaction you had with Nefer after Act 4. I think in the bar area, nod-krai. It's like you sit down and have a drink with her, and she essentially talks about how much she hates liars and how she's a liar, and she's just like there talking about how much she hates herself basically, and I'm like, dang Nefer, like I'm so sorry for you, but that makes me love you more. I just really love characters who like blame themselves for things and like hate themselves. There's just something about it that makes them compelling. It's like the self-reflection, the self-awareness, but also the being super harsh on themselves more than is reasonable because of like guilt or just personally not being what they aspire to be. I just love that kind of character. Oh, one other great thing is even about the early access Yehoda. Like, I think Yehoda's a fan favorite for a really good reason. Like, her reactions are really funny, obviously, and they actually just feel real. They feel real. Even if it's like overdone in like an anime-esque way and the expressions and everything, but still overall I think they feel really real. And later when we got more into the Revere and the Lindis backstory. Oh no, another plane. Yeah, I know you guys are always saying, oh, we can't actually hear the plane because I edited it out, or maybe you wouldn't hear it even if I didn't edit it. But yeah, I'm sure I'll have to decide if I want to add background sounds to this video or not. Anyway, about the Lindis and Revere. Wow, I love how, like, paradoxically, by making Revere into just like this overwhelmingly ordinary man, they made him into a very compelling character to me. It's like the evil and the mundane, or like how evil is perpetuated by the average person just being being a cog in the machine. It's like, yeah, a very classic and cliche thing a meta-analysis or like meta stuff that doesn't really matter to this. Anyway, oh man, the sibling backstory. Okay, so that was something I did enjoy a lot about the early acts. I don't remember what act it was specifically, but the traveler having that mini adventure with their sibling, and like, yeah, that whole sequence, the reminiscence, the whole what is going on, is this a fever dream? And then the sequence after that where it's like, do I even know my sibling anymore? Can I trust them? Or are they really the ones who stole the relic? It's like, I love that. I love when Traveler actually feels like a character. Yes, yes. And I think they did that really well. And I mean, honestly, I think they did that really well for most of nod-krai in general, like including their interactions with Columbina. In my personal opinion, it did not feel like ML bait. ML bait is like, you know, self-insert traveler ship bait. Like, I'm usually very sensitive to that, and like, personal opinion. I know there are people who like that, and it's like, happy for you, but like, and yeah, I know there are gonna be people in the comments that were like, yeah, that's a gotcha game, and it's just like that, like, you're hating on just things that are fun. I'm not trying to say that, I'm just saying this is my personal preference. I personally hate when it's like ML bait, but I did not feel that with Columbina, even though I know there are some people who do think that, but like, in my opinion, Traveler's role in and relationship with Columbina really did feel natural. It's like Traveler, it's because of Traveler's personality and character, which they actually had a good amount of in this quest's writing, because Traveler is a naturally very warm person and like a very hero complex kind of person who wants to help everyone and doesn't expect things in return, and that was crucial for Columbina to feel that to have that kind of interaction with somebody who doesn't expect anything from her, who like genuinely just wants to help and things like that, like, and is also open and genuine about that, and is not trying to like bluster or anything. Like, I genuinely think like Traveler is a kind of character that Columbina has not really interacted with much in the past, and that kind of interaction was necessary for her to recontextualize her past relationships in a different light. It's like through understanding, through like becoming Traveler's friend, and then also observing more human relationships generally after being like, because like after interacting with Traveler, she feels more open to like interacting with other humans and being curious about other humans. Like, that's how she recontextualizes, you know, like Sandrone and Arlecchino, and how they were her friends too. And it's like, I love that. I genuinely think it's great writing. Yeah. And the festival, oh my god, the execution of the festival was insane. I was not expecting something of that level whatsoever. It was just really fun, really, really fun. I envision someone, and oh my god, they're so cute. And a little trigger break. I have the sticker packets here. Oh, they're so crinkly. I hope this isn't too loud. But okay, that is pretty loud. I think I want to put it back down. Let me see if this packet is any better. This is an old keychain of a Homura design that I made for the last convention I went to. Okay, yeah, that's less loud. Let's do a little bit of mic scratching too. Scratch. 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 Okay. Okay. So let's continue. I want to talk a little bit more about Never. It's like her revenge story and the way that the writing actually did a show, not tell, of her intelligence and ruthlessness. That was amazing. And also, wait, that goodbye scene with her friend from the academia. No, those two had something going on. Never is like, I mean, obviously I'm biased, but Never is so lesbian coded. I'm gonna be real, she's like gay as heck. I love that. She definitely had something going on with that room. And was it her roommate? No, or just a friend. But like in the original Chinese dialogue, that friend was like, we were the closest, right? Like, I think in English, she said we were best friends, right? Like, used the word friends explicitly, but in Chinese, nah, she just asked if we were, if they were the closest. Yeah. Gay. Anyway. Yeah, like, that scene when she realizes, like, when she looks at the carnage that resulted from her actions and felt the guilt. Oh wait, here's my Z1 Columbina. Yay! It was capturing radiance too. That was like, I think the second time I've seen that capturing radiance animation. Yay! Z1 Columbina. Yahoo! But yeah, Never. Oh my god, Never. Like, dang. And the way that she just kind of like tries to brush off that extremely traumatic moment of her life that she clearly still hasn't really gotten over. That was great. I loved it. But what I did not love was the other characters' reactions to that. Like, they were so nonchalant about it. They're like yo, to kind of just like trying to like change the subject or something, or like, Loma, I don't know, like, underwhelming for me, and that kind of ruined the moment a bit for me. Yeah, I don't know, like, I understand it's like they have limitations when they're writing for a gacha game, but sometimes I come in with expectations from on the level of like other media I like, and then I'm just disappointed when not every single dialogue or character action matches with what the character would do. It's like then it takes me out, and I'm reminded how it's a gacha game. It's like, okay, wait, I don't want to diss gacha game writing. Like when there's like a lot of really, really interesting things that I think this game format in particular is uniquely capable of, and like I think that's really cool. But then, yeah, there are just times when it's just like, I really wish that they had done this differently. Anyway, overall, great. I know some people felt that Never's backstory being inserted was jarring, but I thought it was like a perfect transition. Honestly, like, it makes perfect sense. Like, they're using her power, something goes awry, and they see her backstory. Like, that's honestly kind of a narrative cliche at this point, and I love cliches when they're done well, and I personally thought this was done really well. I just realized this entire video is going to be about the nod-krai quest. Oops. So, no timestamp for when I stop talking about it because it's gonna be the whole video. Well, let's see, other things. Oh my god. I haven't even talked about Sandpina yet. Holy crap. Oh man, I might need a whole other video for this. Guys, y'all, Sandpina is like my new favorite chip. I'm obviously like 1 in like 3,300,000,000,000,000,000,000 people like who have the same opinion. Sandpina speak. I'm like very basic for saying that, but it's true. Yo, that goodbye scene at the festival, I'm not over it. Oh my god, I love Tsundere, okay, and like Sandrone, like actually wanting to reach out and return the hug, but then like Columbina letting go before she could. No, the angst, it's so delicious. And then, I mean, so I think everyone at this point probably knows that Sandrone's quote-unquote death is like a fake out and she'll be back. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious from the narrative too, given Arlecchino telling you about like Sandrone's explicit instructions to bring her body to like a certain place, and then also leaving this notebook behind and stuff. It's like, and also like, I forget who it was who mentioned that Sandrone always has a plan B, but maybe it was Arlecchino too. But anyways, like, obviously they're teasing she's gonna come back, but the question is whether or not she'll have her memories, because I think they could go with a really interesting direction of amnesia, like data loss, because of that injury. It's like, even if she doesn't lose all her memories, maybe she loses some of the more recent interactions supercharges the final battle against Chidori, like emotionally. You know, it feels like the emotional impact of Sandrone's death was not drawn out to its full potential. Even if it was a fake out death, or not necessarily fake out death, but like even if she comes back, like I think they could have done more emotionally with the impact of it, especially since I mean they off-screened Columbina mourning her and things like that, which honestly I think was like a good move. But like they could have at least in the moment had this dramatic reaction to Sandrone's death. Like it wouldn't have, like I don't think Columbina would have like yelled or anything, but like maybe you could actually you would be able to sense this aura of calm fury, like not calm but like bubbling fury that I felt like yeah, I just want to see characters go feral. Okay, this is like, I don't know if any of you have seen Link Click, but vague spoilers in season 1, like in the transition between season 1 and 2, one character thinks another character is dead for a while, and in my opinion, the one, like character A who thinks character B is dead, character A should have gone like feral. Like there should have been a much more dramatic reaction than there was. Like I don't know, maybe it's like the remnants of my overly emotional teenager phase still like carrying over, but it's fiction, y'all, and like I love seeing characters go feral. I mean, I know I'm not alone in this. Like a lot of people love seeing characters go feral. Like this is a huge reason I loved Never's backstory. Like she was going feral for sure. Like you just feel the emotion, and it's like maybe it's more exaggerated than it was realistic, but that's the beauty of fiction. It's like, yes, it's a commentary on, maybe it's not entirely accurate to human nature or like real human psychology in the way that I talked about previously, but at the same time these are like artistic exaggerations that also, there's like, okay, characters in a story are different from people because like different from real people, and I think that's beautiful. I like the difference. There's like a certain intentionalness when you're writing a character, and it's like you're trying to convey something, right? Okay, I'm getting really off track. TLDR, I wanted to see Columbina react more to Sandrone's death and have that first when we were introduced to Flynn's, I was like, oh my god, is this Yume bait? Is this pandering to like human shippers or something, or like ML but for people trying to depend? Which, I mean, gender equality, good for people. But then like you learn that it's just Flynn's is just like that with everyone. Flynn's just like flatters everyone. I love that. It was like kind of a turn on the expected trope, and actually made him pretty funny, and I greatly enjoyed that. And the interactions with Yulua were also pretty fun, especially in the recent anecdotes where they're trying to like get out of Aino's class. I do find those very entertaining. And then Ineva really grew on me again through anecdotes. I think I still wasn't really, I don't know, super sold on her in the Archon quests generally, but I think she's more of a side character anyway, even though like from her lore she could be a lot more important than that, I think, but maybe that's still untapped future potential they haven't looked into. Anyway, were there other things that I wanted to talk about? The Moon Sisters, oh my god. Y'all, okay, first of all, the fact that they had actual really good models for them, that was great. No, I loved that. I really loved that. It's like, yes, they're so gorgeous, and they had personalities, and like, then when they talked about their motivation, like the reasoning behind letting the Heavenly Principles do their thing, and like how much they cared about the world, and the way that they are separated from the world but still feel curiosity and sadness for it. It's like, I really, really love that. And the time travel, I haven't even talked about the time travel. Oh my god. Y'all, I love time travel. Okay, I haven't even talked about the Columbina arc, about like her traveling backwards in time while moving forward in the space, and like how all the little unexplained things were because of her doing, and it's like her agency and her saving herself, and like I think that was just so cool. I also like, it's probably also like kind of cliche at this point when you have those kinds of plot lines, but heck, I love time travel, and I think it was written great, written really well here. Like, cliched plots can be great if they're done well, and I mean, I'm probably biased because I already liked Columbina, but like, I think me liking Columbina was also credit to the writing of Columbina's character, and how they fleshed out that development. But yeah, Columbina, oh my god, y'all, I loved that plotline, and the realization of like the closed loop time, the closed loop time travel is honestly my favorite kind of time travel, because everything fits together and makes sense in the end, and you're like, oh, so that's why it is the way it is. It's just, yes, 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 yes. And the moon and the spaceship at the end, that was so cool, like actually having this, having like the freaking moon, a freaking spaceship. It's like, what is going on? And that's so cool. And I don't know if you guys saw the lore of Traveler's New Skin, but there is some really juicy stuff in there. And I've also seen some theories about what this means about like Teyvat, Genshin, the final plotline of the overarching story. And it's like, I really buy a lot of the theories that are out there right now, about like the origins of the Heavenly Principles, how they tie in with the Traveler. Like, there are some theories that really make sense. How Paimon is involved, like the true identity of Paimon, things like that. And it's like, it's the kind of theory where like if they wrote the plot like the plot on surface level, I think I would hate, but I can actually see Genshin doing it well, given their previous writing for related things. I'll stop talking too much about that, but yeah, basically TLDR, loved the nod-krai quests. Really got me back into Genshin lore. I like invested in the characters in a way that I haven't felt in a long time, I think. And yeah, I think they kept continuing that energy after Act 8 too. Like, I really loved the Lantern Right event, which I might talk about more in a later video, because I also have a lot of Tsubai related exploration footage where that could be a nice topic to talk about. But yeah, scratch, scratch, scratch. I hope you